Candace Owens and Jason Aldean. Apparently he's some, I don't know, town. I don't think Nashville is a small town. I could be wrong. Maybe that's just where he lives. When it comes to messing with a small town, you don't mess with a small town. That's not how it happens. Small towns, people are closed up, segregated, and ignorant. In a small town, well, people are going to talk nice to your face, but they'll talk trash behind your back every step. Every step. You walk into a small town as a homeless person, and everybody who lost anything at all in the last 20 years is calling you in. Oh, he must have stolen something. He's homeless. All homeless people are thieves. Huh? All right. Oh, boogers. I hate having boogers. So who's this Candace Owens lady? Well, how do I explain this? Okay, you know the Samuel L. Jackson character from Django? If I didn't know better, I'd say that was her granddaddy. Or maybe her great-granddaddy. So this girl, she's pretty. She is, most definitely. I had my headphones in and I was listening to it earlier, and somebody come up to me and said, "Hey man, she's real pretty." Okay, sure. So is that why people are listening to her? Is that why Beefcake Cheese Dog here is listening to her? Because she's pretty? Or is it because she says it like an entitled white girl? I like to say things like an entitled white girl sometimes. If you say it as if it is a fact just because you said it, then it must be true because you said it's true. And you said it with command in your voice. Lo and behold, my brother, it must be true. If Chewbacca was a Wookiee, and he was a Wookiee, you must have quit. If you don't get the last reference, that ain't my fault. I'm making a longer walk than I feel comfortable making because I have to get all of my muscles unstiffened. I've been moving around too much in my vehicle, and I know that when I go to sleep, everything will hurt. Go ahead. Of course, I don't really have a bed. I sleep in my car. And so this Candace Owens lady is talking about how Jason Aldean's wife, when her and her husband first moved to Nashville, Tennessee, this Aldean fella and his wife took them in. Basically showed them the ropes of the area a little bit, you know. I had problems with accidentally pressed the button. Anyway, for me, it's a whole different world than it is for this pretty white girl. Oh, wait, she doesn't identify as white. She sides with whites when it'll stir up the mud. She sides with blacks when it stirs up the mud. But which blacks and which whites is she siding with? Because none of us agree on the color of shit. So then, of course, we get a bunch of black folks that are sorts of pissed off about this Aldean thing. And this Candace Owens lady wants to blame it on white liberals. White liberals in white limousines did this, apparently. Now, this is a lady who has literally never seen what an actual day of work is. Doesn't know what a real day's work is. How about that aldean feller? When's the last time he even saw a fucking tractor? Would he know the first goddamn thing about changing the hydraulic line? How about driving the fucking thing? As far as his song with violent lyrics, you know what? We got lots of songs with violent lyrics. That ain't the issue I got. The issue I got is that it's okay for him. It's somehow magically okay for him. Just like it's magically okay for anybody who's got just a little bit of power, money, and influence. Where does that influence come from? Popularity, which comes from, well, money and looks for the most part. What do you have? How much of it are you willing to share for people to care? So this Candace Owens lady, right? She's a political opinion. She's one of those people who wants to use political parties as insults. These liberals. Oh my God. Oh my God, Candace Owens is like offended. We had better drop everything that we're doing and like help her. No, Candace Owens. You want to blame very specifically white liberals. White liberals did this to you, right? No. No, they didn't. How many times does Candace Owens say, oh, you did this to yourself, you did this to yourself, you did this to yourself? But she only applies that one way. Now when it comes to appeasing, how do I say this? Whites. She does try to post up enough stuff that will hopefully appease upper middle class or higher rich people. If you're upper middle class, you are rich by comparison with everyone else in the United States. If you are upper middle class, you are in the top 5% bracket of Americans. Top 5%. By the way, the bottom 80%, they're the working class. They're the ones building your Fords, building your Chevys, even building your Toyotas now. That's right here in the United States. If I tell myself I'm not in pain, maybe it'll make it true, right? A lot of y'all like pulling that, don't you? The mind over matter thing. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. If you don't mind getting whipped every day, then apparently it's fine to be whipped. Is that what it is? Or maybe because you have a S&M fetish and like being hit, that somehow that means that everyone should like being hit. No, just because you sick shits who are addicted to abuse think that everybody should be addicted to abuse doesn't mean that everybody is addicted to abuse. Now that Samuel L. Jackson character in Django, he ain't nobody I want in my plantation. Then again, I don't own a plantation, do I? If I did own a plantation, would I have slaves? Oh, hell no. Hell no. Ain't no reason for that. If I can't manage the property myself, then I should probably hand some of it off to somebody who can use it. Somebody who can handle it. instead of holding on to more land than I can utilize and letting it go back to the bank or to some corporation after I die. Always going to the highest bidder. When it comes to construction, you try to go with the lowest bidder. When it comes to sales, you try to bid high or get the highest bidder. And it's all about making profit. Our rights are based upon our ability to create profit. If you don't have a good start, you're stuck at the bottom taking abuse for the rest of your life just for existing. This is even more prevalent if you're a male. This is even more prevalent if you're disabled. Right now I'm trying to pretend I'm not in a shit ton of pain, and it's not working too good. Right now I just want to scream and shout and curse and yell. Here we go. These are the kind of signs we have here. Be a lifeline carrying Narcan. See, the junkies don't give a fuck about anybody but themselves. And apparently Oregonians don't care about themselves either. They only care about junkies. Never mind all the junkies' victims. But you're busy victimizing the same people, aren't you? And are these junkies actually getting help out of these situations? Or are they still the fuck out here being junkies? How dare I use the word junkie? I know. Someone is going to be or bound to be offended because I use the word junkie. I know. But I'm out here with these people every day, day in and day out, because I don't have a place of my own. And I don't have a place of my own because of abuse. Because people didn't want to listen to a male, especially if he's disabled. And how dare he speak up as a white guy? My God, the way that I get treated. No, Sean, you have no room to complain. You know I'm black. I don't give a fuck what color you are. Not sure if you noticed, but I'm a fucking nuisance. You're welcome. Somebody has to stand up for our fucking rights, and just because you're too much of a fucking coward to do so, doesn't mean that I'm not gonna. Y'all think that bullying somebody and berating them and telling them, oh, you need therapy. No, fuck you. We got black folks who get pampered to the max. I want to talk about how they're not having to deal with that stuff. Well, that's great. We got people like Candace Owens, who is a pretty black girl. She's young and pretty, too. That is much more the better. She's got about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years before she hits the wall. She might not, though. I mean, hell, there's lots of people that got crushes on Gabrielle Union. She aged really well, didn't she? But Candace Owens, well, I feel that what she's doing is about the same as blackface for black folks. You know, if you're gonna act like a white girl, like a stuck-up, prissy white girl, you're entitled to that. I see it. You're allowed. But also, you want to spout a bunch of bullshit. Bullshit. So you wanna stand up for somebody's right to make a song encouraging people to hurt others. But do you speak up for those down here on the streets being abused every fucking day, or do you just give a fuck about this white boy song? Great, you had a white boy whose wife hooked you up. Good. And it just so happened to be a well-to-do white boy. Well, that's very nice. What does that white boy got to show for it? Does what he has to give really show or determine whether or not he's a good person? Promoting violence. God damn, that's a horrible thing to do. It really is. I don't agree with it when rappers do it. I don't agree with it when rockers do it. Hello. I just plain don't like it. But also, the suggestive images are very, very directed and very pointed towards a very specific group of people. Those who are standing up to the government. Those who are standing up to tyrants and tyranny. And here we got assholes like Jason Aldean wanting to promote murder of anybody who doesn't just lay down and fucking take it like a bitch. Jason Aldean is a fucking sucker punch to the midsection. He's a cold cock to the back of the head. He's a fucking backstabbing goddamn whore hole, just like Candace Owens. And this dirt diggity dog feller who's on the front screen of this, I don't know who the fuck he is, I don't fucking care. What I care about is that this guy is just in love with her. Anything that she says he eats up like candy. And then there's the liberals and Republicans and Democrats. And of course we gotta say all those with disdain in our voice. But none of these people want to understand. When I say these people, I mean all of these people. Liberals, Republicans, Democrats. Or rather, Democrats, Republicans, and liberals. Do they care about you, the common person? Does Candace Owens know the first goddamn thing about having to live your life? You should know the first goddamn thing about not being pampered. No, she knows what it's like to be pampered. And she knows if she sticks her head like this and says it as if it's an attitude because it must be true because a women's prerogative. Just don't fly with me, homie. You want to play Samuel L. Jackson? I don't recommend the snakes on a plane thing. I don't recommend the Django thing. You're going to go ahead and I suppose you could go with the Mace Window thing. Did you get it? Mace Window. Oh, that looks like one of the little frogs from Frogger. So this Aldean feller, what does he mean to me? Not a goddamn thing. I don't know the feller. He never tried touching my willy. What I do know is that the images were very suggestive. Now, suggestive is okay. Well, depending on you or me, then literally everything that you showed and said, spoke in that song, would have gotten his ass at least in jail and possibly in prison. But he wouldn't know that because he's a pampered white boy with white privilege. Same as Candace Owens. She's a pampered white boy with white privilege. Although both of them can get away with things that we can't, so we're going to have to change that to being pampered white girls with white privilege. A lot of people want to pull that, oh, you know, if I can do it, anybody can. You know, if Temple Grandin can do it. Let me tell you something about Temple Grandin. She's a psychopath. That's not the same as being autistic. but she came from a well-to-do family in a well-to-do area, and she did pretty well. All of her studies revolved around animal slaughter, though. This is supposed to be our autistic messiah. It's hilarious. It's because of people like her that we get assigned the whole sociopath thing, the whole psychopath thing. Being autistic is not the same thing. We get to see how a lot of people use their fame and fortune to dupe idiots. You know what you learn from that? Who the idiots are. Who's easy to dupe. Candace Owens. Or who's a Samuel L. Jackson character from Jango Fett. I'd like to give a shout out to all of these idiots who want to reciprocate this crap, who want to judge all as as if no police officer could ever do wrong, and no hobo could ever do right. It's horrid, and it gets people killed. Well, Candace Owens doesn't have to have the same worries as I do or anyone else on the streets, because she's not on the streets. She certainly feels as if she should be allowed an opinion, be titled and entitled to that opinion, and of course, she'd be allowed to present and impress it upon us. She is of the same mentality that has resulted in literally centuries of slavery. Well, millennia of slavery, actually. Slavery is still alive today. As far as Candace Owens goes, some of her educational stuff is very useful and very tactful. However, she bounces back and forth, much like me, between blaming one group and another. And she seems to blame the wrong group. I think this aldean feller is a fucking chump. I also believe that, well, sticking up for Colin Kaepernick is in my best interest, same as yours. Which type of mentality would you prefer? Somebody who lays down and takes it, covers their eyes while you take it? Or would you rather have somebody who's going to stand with you and fight for your rights as a human being? Here in the United States, it's supposed to be we the people. George Washington himself warned us of the two-party system. We still have a two-party system. And yeah, Candace Owens wants to point out the liberals. Well, which liberals in specific? Or are you just blaming the entire group? How is it if we blame all blacks? Or all encrusted Sammy from Django type characters? Yeah, I'll stick up for black people who are getting the shaft. Candace Owens doesn't know what the fuck it's like being victimized, especially as a black male. She will never know what that's like. Neither will I. But as a male and as a homeless person, I'm at a much higher risk of getting shot than any black person. Unless that black person is homeless on the streets. Candace Owens believes that because she's a young white girl who hasn't lived in the real world, she lived with her husband. She talks very prim and proper. And she is very well educated. She's just ignorant as fuck from lack of experience. And Mr. Doe Dipty Dog Dude, whatever his name is, who's on the front cover of this. And is he gonna grow his own fucking brain, or is he just gonna spout out whatever she says? Well, I get that she's pretty. I can see that she's pretty with my own two eyes. She's pretty in a Gabrielle Union kind of way. I'm autistic, not retarded. I'm autistic, not blind. I'm autistic, not deaf. Seems to me all motherfuckers are the ones who don't live in the real world. Pull your heads out your ass.